Hi, Natasha here, sports dietitian at NMC Nutrition. When are meal plans useful? So meal plans can actually be a good support tool when they're used the right way. There's two kinds of meal plans that exist. The first one is the one most people think about, and that's the specific meal plan. So for example, it would say, eat 2 kiwi on Tuesday at 3 p.m. So that kind of meal plan is useful particularly with clients who have eating disorders. So in those cases, the clients may not be generally not consuming sufficiently. And so it's a much better alternative than hospitalization, which would be a lot more restrictive depending on their needs, obviously. Some would benefit better from hospitalization at a certain point. So in those cases, the meal plan is developed by a professional, by a sports dietitian. It's also developed specific to that person's needs and increases in caloric needs as the sessions go on. Another time where a specific meal plan could be beneficial is for development for groups. So for example, for the Canada Games, for the Olympics, sports dietitians are the ones developing the menu and making sure that there's variety and there's use of the leftovers to really try and offer a properly developed meal plan for those events. Same goes for schools or private schools where there may be a cafeteria supporting these athletes as well. Now, the flexible meal plan. The role of a sports dietitian is to help guide athletes into figuring out which food combinations is the best for them and in which ratios as well. So we're talking the macronutrients, carbs, protein, and fat, but also the micronutrients, so the vitamins and minerals like calcium and magnesium and zinc and iron. Now, we're wanting to make sure that an athlete is consuming the proper timing and the proper proportions. So proportions, we're talking about that plate. Are you eating half your plate and bread, pasta, rice, cereal, the grains, maybe a quarter protein, a quarter fruit and vegetables? So there's all different proportions, we'll say. Now, the role of the athlete is to consume based on their body's needs, obviously. So most athletes simply require adjustments or tweaks to the way they're eating. They're generally eating fairly well, and we just have to adjust certain things. Certain athletes will feel that they need more structure, and that's where a flexible meal plan can be useful. So this is when they're feeling overwhelmed and they feel that they need that extra structure. Now, the dietitian will then take on the role of a parent, where when we're dealing with parents and young children, which you may be aware of, the role of the parent is to offer the proper timing of the food, the proper proportions on the plate, and the right combinations. Okay, and then the role of the child is usually to consume that food. So the dietitian takes on that role and says, okay, because these needs are more than just general needs, here, based on when you're training, what sport you're doing, what your goals are, what your body composition goals are, work schedule, are you doing shift work, health issues, allergies, medication deficiencies, sex, age, weight. So based on all these details, this plan will tell you what times to eat, which foods to combine together, and which proportions and ratios to have, okay? So this type of flex meal plan offers a wide variety of options because a lot of people tend to think if I'm eating a healthy item, I can eat the same one every day. And the issue there is that if you're eating bananas all the time, for example, you'll get tons of potassium, but you may miss out on vitamin C because you're not having oranges or strawberries or red pepper or tomatoes. So it's important to get that variety in there. So a flexible meal plan offers a long list of options for each time that you eat to make sure that you have tons of variety. So it's more focused on when to eat, what to eat, which ratios, which proportions. That type of plan needs to be developed by someone who's qualified to do so, but it also needs to first include a a consultation, so a diagnostic questionnaire and a food log evaluation, and the individual developing it for you really has to know what you're doing and where you're at, because it needs to be personalized. You should also be combining that meal plan with follow-ups, so that number one, you can make sure to make other changes, because not everything can show up in a meal plan. But number two is you can also make sure that you are not depending on that meal plan, but that it's a short-term support tool. And the ultimate goal is to get away from that meal plan and develop that confidence in yourself and in your knowledge and in your abilities to be able to proportion your food accordingly, and to listen to your body as well. So it's important to know you shouldn't be purchasing a generic meal plan. Meal plans need to be adapted to each individual and need to be personalized. It should also be done by someone who's qualified, who understands the human body and all its in all its complications, the digestion process and so on, and obviously your personal needs. It also should not be followed long term. So this is a short-term guidance tool to give you the structure and to give you a bit of an example of, for example, what should be on your plate at which times based on your training schedule. So it's as if you had a dietitian, a sports dietitian at your house for one day serving the food on the table for you, and then you listen to your body and you take in what you need. So hopefully this helps in understanding. If you are having cravings and you want to learn, number one, how to address them, and number two, how to help reduce occurrence, you can check out my free PDF handout called 5 Mistakes That Lead to Food Cravings. You'll find the link below. And don't forget, nutrition is a science, not an opinion.